This week's episode of The Grid is sponsored by Impix. Shoot today, upload tonight, we ship tomorrow. On One Software, focused on photography. Peach Pit Press, publishers of technology books, ebooks, and videos for creative people. Epson, exceed your vision. Expo Imaging, rogue flash vendors for speedlight enthusiasts. Intel, the power you need for hardcore creatives. Squarespace, everything you need to create an exceptional photography website. And B&H Photo, the professional source.
And welcome to another exciting episode of The Grid, coming to you live from wherever we come live from.
Exciting.
Hi, I'm Scott Kelby. I'm joined by, as always, my co-host, my main squeeze, my piece of cheese,
Holy crap.
Matt Kolskowski.
I was not expecting that's the first.
I was stuck for something. It's not normally what I would say to you.
Hey, everybody.
Or anyone else.
We are
actually.
back. And,
Hey,
wild show coming up here.
we do have a wild show coming up. We better have some giveaways to take people's mind off what we're going to talk about.
Let's talk about our first giveaway. We have plugins with On One Software, written by Nicole S. Young, and we have this. I haven't seen this book yet. It's called The Last Layer by Bonnie Pierce Hotka, and it's a kind of a mix between digital printing and photography and fine art and
that's
media.
Russell Brown on the cover, isn't it?
It is.
From
It looks
Adobe,
like Russell Brown,
Russell Brown.
so,
Got to be Russell.
So-
Hey, I got some stuff. I got 2 tickets to my seminar. I'm going to be in Seattle doing my Shoot Like a Pro tour on the 23rd in September. No, in Seattle.
Yeah.
And we're going to be, what are we going to be doing? Oh, yes, we'll be giving away 2 tickets to Seattle. And then the next day, the 24th, I'm in Los Angeles at the LA Convention Center. Come on out to the tour. It's a lot of fun. And we're giving away two tickets to
When you
some.
go to Seattle?
23rd, and then the 24th, I'm in LA. Is that right?
Sounds good.
Okay, I didn't know if I had maybe had the wrong dates or
No.
something. But we have a very, very wild show for you today. Brad is not here, so Pete is on the hot seat taking your comments and questions. You can just drop us comments and questions now. Hey, we're going to be talking, our topic today, we have two topics, but they're related. One is we're going to talk about the feedback on Adobe's
Creative Cloud.
Creative Cloud announcements this week, going with the subscription-only model.
Which has been glowing, by the way.
Maybe not. So anyway, we're going to be talking about that. And what else are we going to talk about? Oh, I have an idea. So I have an idea. It's a cool
I like
idea.
This. I think everybody's going to like
I think
this
you're going to
one,
like it too. And I'm going to need your help in crafting this idea that I want Adobe to do. It's an Adobe thing that we want Adobe to do.
All right. Take a break?
Yeah, why
Come right
not?
back to it? All right.
Let's take a break and come right back. It's a deal. And there goes the... Hi, everybody. Scott Kelby here. I want to tell you about a brand new member benefit for members of the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. We just call it NAP for short. So at NAP, we have literally thousands of training tutorials. That's what we do. We teach Photoshop, right? But the tutorials that we've had have always been kind of short, sweet, down and dirty, quick. But now we are announcing full, in-depth online training classes. That's right, taught by some of the best instructors in the world. Now here's the thing too, if you're a beginner, this is so for you because the focus of our first round of classes was really on the beginner, on leading you step by step to where you become advanced. And we'll be adding new classes all the time. Now, the coolest thing about all this is, we didn't raise the price. In fact, we've never raised the price. NAP still is just $99, back like it was years and years ago, but it includes a full subscription to Photoshop User Magazine, the digital version or print, your choice, and these brand new full-length online training courses. So I hope you'll check this out at photoshopuser.com. It's where people go to get really good at Photoshop. Hey, we're back.
We are back. So, how's your day going, Scott?
Hi, my day's going really crappy, man. How's yours?
Could be better.
Yeah, so it's been a very disheartening, disappointing, and upsetting last couple of days. So I'm going to take you back to on Monday. So Adobe announced on Monday their new subscription-only plan for Photoshop. And of course, I saw a flood of people with questions on Monday, with comments. I saw a lot of people getting really, really upset, and a lot of times it was really just because of misinformation. It was. I also saw a lot of people asking, like, Scott, what do you think of this whole thing?
Yeah.
So, hey, we're going to take a short commercial break. Don't go away. We got to take a break. We have to take a break. It's a long story. I got a phone call.
Quick.
We'll be right back.
Quick break.
Don't go away. Another break. It's quick. I got this much into my story.
Hi, I'm Joel Grimes, commercial advertising photographer. I'd like to have you check out my new class on beauty, fashion, lighting, and retouching. I've discovered there's nothing more difficult than learning how to light beauty and fashion, and then, of course, the retouching side of things. I'm going to cover all those techniques. I'm Joel Grimes. Come check me out on kelbytraining.com.
Hey, we're back. Sorry, we wanted to sneak a commercial in there real quick.
Yeah. All right.
So people were asking me, okay, Scott, so what do you think about all this? And so what I decided was I'm going to answer as many questions as I can. And so I spent all that night like gathering up what were the questions people were asking about it, okay? What were they complaining about? What were they confused about? And literally, I stayed up like all night researching and digging and trying to put together like a really comprehensive, here's what I know about this. And it's like Adobe's at max. I don't really have a bunch of people at Adobe I can call and ask them.
Yeah, because that's when this
you
all
were
happens.
at max. Yeah, everybody's at max. So I didn't have a bunch of people that I could call and say, hey, can you help me out doing some research? How much does this cost? How much does this cost? So anyway, Tuesday morning, I post the questions and answers. I do a whole question. And I didn't ask anybody to buy anything. I posted the most complete answers that I could find. And I tried to do it in a positive way. Since there's no sense in posting it in a really negative way, not like that it would have changed anything. And I got almost 400 comments. Now, out of those 400 comments, I would say 380 of them were calling me names, accusing me of stuff. Like
388.
Yeah, I don't know how in the world that I became now responsible like for this. So I don't make Adobe's pricing. I don't make Adobe's plans and all. But anyway,
You got drugged through the mud on it.
I got drugged through the mud as much as I've ever been drugged. This reminded me of like my sports thing my shoot on the sidelines thing that I did a few years ago.
Oh, dude, that was tame compared to this.
Yeah, this was really mean. So anyway, so people are saying, Scott, where's your open letter to Adobe? You know, where's your outrage? Why aren't you saying anything? So I wanted to start today's show to let you know a couple of things that you may not have known. First is, I talked with Adobe to death. I've been talking to Adobe about this. Do you think that I woke up and just, oh, holy cow, they did this? They changed this price? I've been talking to Adobe for months. And I haven't seen anything written in the comments and forums that I didn't sit in front of an Adobe executive and say to them face to face. So I had face-to-face meetings. I had conference calls. I'm on an advisory board for Adobe. I did all these different things. And so I'm working behind the scenes. That's, I wanted to, so, I represent the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. I have 70,000 members that I speak for. So when Adobe asks me, what do you think? I feel like I have to be really frank with them and tell them. So, but I kind of we'll put that aside, but because that's where I got basically assailed, was why aren't you outraged? Well,
why aren't you saying anything?
There's a number of reasons I'm not outraged. One is I hadn't just heard about it. I've had months to contemplate it, to calm down about it, to understand it. Now, if you'd been the first day I heard about it, it'd been a little different.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to say. And first I want to address, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, and isn't that, you had an open letter to Adobe way back when. And
but that was
in part, that was from some of the initial things that happened.
That was November 2011.
Yeah.
And it was basically about a decision. So here's what happened then, just so you know on the open letter, Adobe actually wrote on their blog post, here's what we're doing starting December 31st. So I didn't have a bunch of advance notice. I read what was happening, which is basically they were going to leave behind anybody that didn't have Photoshop CS 5.5. Like if you didn't have the latest version, you weren't allowed to go into this cloud thing. So all I did was I said, hey, Adobe, you still got some time here. You haven't made this, you said, hey, it's coming, but you haven't really made the official, okay, this is the cutoff date or anything. Would you reconsider? Would you maybe let some of these people that have CS4, have CS5, maybe skipped a version? You let them come along. Well, I didn't convince Adobe to do anything. Your hundreds and hundreds of comments is what convinced Adobe. I just said, hey, I laid out the case and said,
let's see if people like it.
Yeah, and Adobe listened, and Adobe actually changed their thing, which is great, and I'm totally cool about that. But this is different.
Yeah.
So this is something that I knew and had met with Adobe, and we'll go into that in just a moment. But here's the first thing. Here's what I want you to do, because I'm reading some very well-known and big names in this industry carrying on things and saying things that are just way wrong. First is, I want you to forget the $50 a month thing. Just forget. People are going, it's $600 a year for Photoshop. There's no way I'm paying $600 a year. You know what? Good news. Nobody's paying $600 a year. Here's why. It's only, if you're already a Photoshop, if you have CS6 or CS5 or CS4 or CS3, they got a deal to get you in the program for $10 a month. $10. All right? Photoshop. Just, you do not have to go and get the complete Creative Cloud. You don't have to do that. If you're really the right person for that Creative Cloud, right? You are someone who is using multiple programs, using Photoshop and using Illustrator and InDesign and Premiere Pro and After Effects and all. If you're that person, if you're the right person for it, you know what you're saying today? Oh my God, this is the greatest deal ever. It was $2,500 for the Master Collection, and now I can get it for $600 a year, $50 a month. Dude, I'm in. So if you're like, whoa, that's not me, they still have a solution for you. It's like everybody's pretending you can't get Photoshop by itself. You can get Photoshop by itself for $10 a month. All right, now that's a 1-year contract, $10 a month. Now, if you just come out of the blue and say, you know what, I've never bought Photoshop, but now it's so darn cheap, I want in, then it's $20 a month. So if you never had CS5, CS4, just like I'm just brand new, I just got out of school and I'm thinking of buying Photoshop, it's $20 a month. So can we really focus on that instead of focusing on a product you're not going to use? Because if you're saying $600 is too much, you're not the person.
Yeah.
So
because it would be the best deal you ever had if you were.
So and again, it is $10 is for the first year only. All right, it's a 1-year contract. After that, it goes up to 20. Well, after that, it could go up to 20. There's a year between now and then. I know Adobe's saying it's going to go up to 20, but Adobe can always change their mind, as we know. So anyway, but you're in for a year at $10 a month. So if you just bought CS6, you're set. All right, now, but that's one thing. I just want you to, but I just want to move I want to move the conversation away from $600 a month, because I read people, there's no way I'm spending $600 a month on Photoshop. If you are spending $600 a year on Photoshop, you've done something horribly wrong. Call Adobe and cancel your account.
Yeah, you misinformation.
Someone signed you up for the wrong thing, because you only have to pay right now for a year contract $10 a month. Now, you know what I'd do if I was Adobe? Here's what I would do if I was Adobe. This is not what I want to talk about. This is later. But if I was Adobe, you know what I'd do? I'd go, hey, everybody, get in on $10 a month, and they're already going to say we'll protect you for 12 months. But nothing's the same price 12 months from now than it is. Well, go see what gas is, or postage stamps, or your cable thing. Anyway, but I would love to see Adobe say, we'll protect you for 2 years. Or we'll protect you for 3 years. If you get in now in the next 30 days or something, Adobe's not going to do this. I'm just saying that would, maybe they make it a little, well, it's a 1-year contract now. So maybe they make it 18-month contract. 18 months would be good, because that's the amount of time you'd normally go.
A rev cycle between Photoshop versions.
Because a regular Photoshop version is about 18 months. But anyway, here's the thing. Just understand this. Number one is what I was doing on my blog was literally just, here's all the things that I found. I never said, hey, I think you should buy this. I think this is the way to go, or anything. I just said, it's right for some people, it's wrong for some people. You know what I said? And this is when I read comments that say like, Scott, that's just a big PR thing from Adobe. I'm like, do you think Adobe's PR department would have approved me to say, by the way, if you're a photographer, I really wouldn't join the full Creative Cloud. Their head would explode. Yeah. I said stuff in there that would make Adobe just blow up and all. So anyway, go back and actually read it. I had to write some little notes to people. Did you actually read what I said? Because I wrote in there, if you're a photographer, I don't think the Creative Cloud's for you. In fact, if you use Photoshop and Lightroom with your both in there, I wrote the math to tell you I think it's a better deal to just buy the single and then go buy Lightroom than it is to do the Creative Cloud. That's probably not what Adobe was really excited about. Adobe wouldn't have said, Scott, go tell a big group of people not to subscribe.
Yeah.
There's nobody in Adobe PR, because I know this from just working with companies in general, that there's no one in the PR department that ever says our product isn't right for everybody. So there's no way. But of course, I got a load of crap with that. Okay. Now, here's what I want you to understand. There's a couple other things, and I just want you to wrap your head around this. Photoshop is not a consumer piece of software.
Nope.
It's $700. All
So
right?
if you graduated college today and you said, I'm going to go be a photographer or a designer or something like that, and you went to buy Photoshop, you'd pay.
Photoshop CS6.
CS6, you'd pay.
$700. Now, so what I see a lot of people saying, oh, well, these hobbyists are going, oh, well, this is ridiculous. I can't afford $10 a month. It's $10 a month to use professional level software. Now, if you go, hey, I can't swing $10 a month, then Photoshop may not be your most pressing problem. If you can't swing $10 a month, there's a whole nother thing that you need to be worried about. In Photoshop, it should be the last of your worries. But let's just say that's you. Seriously, go buy Photoshop Elements. I looked yesterday on Amazon and Google, whatever.
$59.
$59. You keep it forever. Listen to this. And I'm not joking when I say this next sentence, and Adobe's going to hate this, but I'm saying it anyway. It's 90% of the features of Photoshop CS6 at literally 8.5% of the price. That's it. It's 90% of the features of Photoshop. So you won't be able to convert to CMYK.
But you got Camera Raw.
You have Camera Raw. You got
Selections.
unsharp masks, selections. You got the healing brush. I mean,
Layers, masks.
masks, on and on, curves. You got a load of stuff. You know,
Cloning healing. Content aware.
Content aware. I mean, you got a ton of stuff in there, right? It's an incredible. There's two secrets at Adobe. Number one, how good Elements is. Number two, that there's a standalone subscription just for Photoshop. Those are the two biggest secrets.
Yeah.
Now, so one of the things that threw me when I'm reading everybody's comments, and by the way, I stopped reading your comments after about 140. After 140 of them, I was like, I'm out. Now, I usually read every single comment, but even my wife came to me. I want to give her a shout out. She's listening at home. She came to me and she said, honey, stop reading your comments because you'll commit suicide. So anyway.
I said the same. I was on the phone with you in the morning.
Dude, stop reading.
I said, dude,
All
just
right.
stop reading now.
And I don't think I answered anybody back there. I answered some people. You know what was weird? Here's the weirdest thing. You know where people were really nice to me and thanking me and stuff like, hey, thanks for all this information. I was kind of overreacting on it. Twitter.
Facebook. Oh, Twitter.
Twitter.
Okay.
Twitter's usually a place where you get buried. You do something the least bit wrong, instant burial. However, anyway, the Twitter crowd has been very supportive and you know, I mean, a couple of guys here and there, but there's always a couple of guys.
Yeah.
But listen, the one thing that everybody wanted to get, they thought they really had me on, this like aha moment, was when I wrote in my blog post that I was on the Adobe advisory board. Yes, I'm on the advisory board. I just want you to understand this. What do you think my advice to Adobe was? And because they acted like this was some impropriety, you know. And I would say, well, I'm the president of this National Association of Photoshop Professionals. It's a trade association for their product. Why would having me on their advisory board be a bad thing? But just stop just a minute, okay? Stop being in such a rush to hurl insults and accusations at me and think about what everybody's saying. So I'm reading all these people saying, oh, we're out of here. I'm leaving Photoshop, da-da-da-da. How would that help me? I'm the person that's tied to Photoshop. My whole business is built around Photoshop. Why would I want to promote something that I think is literally bad for Photoshop and will drive people away? So that's where I start. Well, he's on Adobe's advisory board. Well, guess what? I am, and guess what? I advised him. But that's all I can do. I'm not on Adobe's board of directors. I'm not a shareholder at Adobe. I'm not paid for my advisory position. You know who else is on the advisory board? Ski.
Yep.
We're both on the advisory board. It's an unpaid position. We don't get, but you know what it is? When Adobe makes a decision, they might ask me or Matt our opinion on something. I think our job, since we're not paid, is to give them our honest, straightforward feedback.
And we did.
They're not asking me permission.
No.
They're not saying, hey, Scott, do you mind if we change to a subscription model? They tell me what they decided to do, and then they ask me what I think of it, how I think it will go over, and I tell them to the point, I'm not kidding you, I tell them all my thoughts to the point where I'm surprised they still take my calls. Honestly, and I'm not kidding, and I think Matt would have to agree, if you were to ask Adobe one word to characterize me, it would be troublemaker. It would be, he's the guy that is always complaining. He's the guy that always wants us to lower the price and do more and do this and do that. Do you know why? Because I'm representing 70,000 NAP members. I'm not representing Adobe. I don't get paid by Adobe. Why don't I get paid by Adobe? Do you get paid by Adobe?
No, I don't get paid
Crap,
either.
this sucks. Anyway, I don't get paid by Adobe. What my job is to make my members happy, to make members of the National Association for Photoshop, to represent them. I saw their comments. I get emails directly. I got emails yesterday, some of the harshest, meanest emails you've ever seen. You know what I did with them? I deleted them. No, I sent them directly to the executives at Adobe. I just boom, forwarded, boom, forwarded, boom, forwarded, because Adobe actually wants to know. But you know what, the one thing, so I think that they I think they want me to sit there, look them in the eye and tell them honestly what I think. And we have very, very frank, honest discussions about this. But in the end, I'm not in charge of Adobe's pricing. I don't make these things. I can tell Adobe, is there any way we can get it cheaper? Now, I got to tell you, I will say this to Adobe's credit. When they came out with that $10 a month thing, I wouldn't have guessed for $1 million.
Yeah.
$10
would be so low.
I wouldn't have guessed. I was kind of like, they told me, and I said,
really?
Seriously, $10 a month?
Like I was thinking 20 maybe.
10, yeah, we're going to give it at least a year, $10. $10 a month? I was absolutely stunned. So here's the thing, is you have to understand a couple of things. Number one, I just want to recap why I wasn't outraged. Number one, I knew it was coming. I didn't just hear it yesterday. I had time to adjust to it. I had time to process it. I had time to sit back and go, okay, let's not freak out. This isn't a bad thing. We still have all these options. And I listed the options in my blog post. I said, you know what, you can buy Elements. You can buy Lightroom. You can buy Photoshop CS6. Photoshop CS6 is still available for purchase. You can buy the standalone Photoshop. You can go to the complete Creative Cloud. It's not like Adobe said you have one choice and this is it. So anyway, oh God. Tom Hogarty from Adobe says, Scott is a troublemaker, I can attest. Yeah, Tom and I mean, I love Tom. He's a good guy. But Tom has got to be looking at me sometimes and go, oh, God, it's Scott. He's got to look at that phone and see Scott Kelby on it and go, I'm not going to pick it up. I'm just not going to. Because he knows if I call and I'm calling to complain. I'm calling to whine. So here's the thing, is I had time to digest it. But I also knew what the $10 plan was. And even if it's $20 plan, it's still 20. You know, Net Member UK says, so $20 a month is too much. How much is your TV subscription, your cell phone data, your coffee bill a month? If Photoshop is important enough to you, then you can afford it. And that's true. I don't know anything that is a professional business tool that's $20 a month. This isn't, and the reason why I'm so passionate about it, why Matt is so passionate, why we're all so passionate about this is because this isn't just software to us. This is Photoshop. This is not only our hobby for many of us, it's a livelihood for many of us. I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about people who are professional photographers and professional people, that this is really, really important. And so here's what happened. We got two things we can do. Number one, we can freak out and do the whole thing. Like, did you see the book, Who Moved Your Cheese? Yeah. All right. So basically, I haven't read it in a number of years, but basically they put rats in a maze and they put cheese, and the rats run to the same place every day. If they move the cheese, the rats just go to that spot and go, "Ooh, where's the cheese?" Sit there. They just sit there until they die. What they should do is just keep going through the maze and go find the cheese. So we can starve to death sitting here complaining about decisions Adobe made, or we can go, you know what? There's probably something here for me if I don't freak out. If I don't freak out. By the way, Photoshop costs less than some nice cheese.
Does it?
Yeah, you ever buy
$10 a month? Yeah.
$10 a month? Dude, I go through $10 of cheese in a morning. Anyway, so here's the thing. What I was trying to do, and I'll never do this again, by the way, was try to help. I've sworn a blood oath to my friends and family that I will never go in and try to clear up the confusion. That I will just sit back and go, yep. Because you know what? Here's the thing. Why am I being the person in this whole industry called out for it? I'm the guy that went to Adobe. I've flown out to Adobe. I have had all kinds of meetings with them. I let them know, good and bad, everything that I do. I haven't seen anything that you guys have written that I didn't sit across from Adobe in a meeting and talk about. But that doesn't mean that they asked for my advice. Hopefully I think I had some help on the price pressure.
And I think part of it is, and you and I talked about this earlier, but your post was not titled, "Why this is the best deal ever." Why join the Creative Cloud now? Your post was titled, it was a Q&A.
Yeah.
It was there. So you did a Q&A, and people took it as, I've got to go in here and I've got to sit there and bash everything about it and include you in it because you were answering the questions. And we talked about, I think regardless of what anybody wrote, that was going to be the reaction.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote a post on my blog.
Yeah, you wrote on what was yours?
I wrote a post because I speak a lot, mostly to Lightroom users. So I wrote a post, I was going to take everything out of it, forget the Creative Suite, and I said, what this means for Lightroom users.
Yeah, what's the Creative Cloud mean for Lightroom
What the Creative
users?
Cloud means for Lightroom. And I outlined it, and I said, if you're this person, this is what it means. If you just use Photoshop, this is what it means. If you use Elements, this is what it means. I even listed out the features. And kind of like you, I can't see Adobe as loving what I did because I kind of said, hey, as a Lightroom user, if you're just using Photoshop, you already have a lot of this stuff. But yet, the comments, it's the same. It's people going in there and just upset, and I think it's over the change.
Dude, I can't imagine Adobe's happy with what I wrote. I told people if you're a photographer, don't get the Creative Cloud. And I said, if you're a photographer and you have Photoshop and Lightroom, still don't get the cloud. And then I actually wrote out the math. I even said, look, I'm proving it to you why it's not a good deal. And I'm getting hammered. So here's the thing. I went to bat for you. I've been going to bat for you a long, long time. But in the end, I'm on Adobe's board of directors. I'm on with Matt on an unpaid, and the other people in the
So I was in a meeting just this past Sunday.
The day before the announcement.
The day before the announcement, we were in an advisory group meeting, and there's 20 other people in this meeting, and I know so many people out there absolutely hate this, but there's 20 other advisors that speak for all of their groups and everybody else in there, and honestly, most of them liked it. I kind of held my comments toward the end, but I was one of the few that jumped in and said to some of the people at the end, I was like, I don't like it.
I have concerns
for the people that I'm speaking to.
Right.
I don't think this is the best thing for them, and I can't evangelize this to them because I really don't think it's the best thing for them.
Right.
And they sat there and they agreed.
Yeah, because we're talking about Adobe's plan for photographers, which isn't quite there yet.
Yeah, but there's 20 other people in this meeting who
are loving it.
Best thing in the world for them because they use Illustrator, they use InDesign, they use Photoshop, After Effects,
Premiere Pro, and Muse, and on and on.
Unfortunately, we're not the only people that exist in the world.
Right.
Others do.
So just understand.
Not unfortunately.
I want to read a couple of comments. We got to take a break. Let's see. But when we stop renting Photoshop, it deactivates and we can't open our PSD files anymore. Why can't we just keep using it but stop getting updates from that point on? Well, because then you could buy Photoshop for $10.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just buy it for $10.
And then unsubscribe.
And then unsubscribe. It's $10. That's not going to happen. But you can open your PSD files. You just can't work on them in Photoshop. You can open your PSD. There's all kinds of programs that open up PSD
Elements
files.
will open them.
Elements will open them. There's all kinds of things.
$59.
You can actually take them over and open them up in Lightroom. You can't work on. I mean, you can work on the flattened file.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. This one says, obviously you oppose this. Now, I don't know if you're saying I oppose. What do I oppose? I oppose the Creative Cloud? No, I don't oppose it at all. I just think it's great for some people. It's just not great for everything. Where you could have said before, Photoshop is good for everyone, right? Photoshop, just $700 is good for everyone, except for people that don't have $700. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think if there's ever been a time where people didn't have $700 at one time, it's probably right now.
Yeah.
So it wasn't perfect either. So what I'm saying is the Creative, let me put it this way, 500,000 people, 500,000 people were already subscribing to the Creative Cloud before Adobe made this announcement. And it's only going to grow. I mean, you know how many people that is in such a short time? So it's not like everybody hates it. It's, oh God, it's awful. So I don't want you to say, Fusen, who wrote that that I obviously oppose it. You wrote, it's bad for your business and a whole lot of your customers. Yeah, I can tell you, it ain't great for my business. If people really do go, that's it, I'm out, Adobe, you're on your own. I teach Photoshop. I want everybody to use Photoshop. So that part, yeah, that's not good for me. So
No, not at all.
No, it's not at all.
Now we have 2 versions to teach.
Right. So, but I have people that they think it's great for. There's 500,000 people that are, that are loving the subscription thing, and I imagine when we talk next year, there'll be 1 million something on it. So it's not like they just came out with this and it's just, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Hey, Carol K says, will there be a discounted subscription price for NAP members like there was a discount on the purchase price? Carol, I'll sure be working on that. I'm actually not the person in the company that works on discounts, but it's absolutely something. John Mason says, Adobe doesn't really have a spokesman, which is a problem. Yes, John Mason. I didn't sign up for this.
Because they should have written that blog post.
Adobe should have written that blog post. But if they had, they never would have said any of the bad stuff. So here's the thing. John Mason, I love you. Because you know what? Adobe doesn't have a person. So Adobe, the industry, has chosen me to crap on. And I'm the guy I've been flying out to Adobe and having these meetings and doing everything that I can. I don't know what else I can do. But my job, I think now, and what I did on Tuesday, stupidly by the way, was to try to be, okay guys, let's everybody take a deep breath, myself included, here we go. Everybody take a deep breath. Let's really look at what's going on. Stop biting the $600 headline, stop biting the $50 a month thing, and say, with what I use, which plan makes the most sense for me? Because the other plan is, don't use Photoshop anymore. Well, that's a crappy plan, but you have actually like 6 choices of what you can do. And depending on where you are, $600 is a great deal or $600 is a horrible deal. But you'll know. Mm-hmm. You're either sitting in your office today going, I can't believe this is only $600, or there's no way I'm paying $600.
Yeah.
And if you're saying one or the other, then if you say there's no way I'm paying $600, just go to the next plan.
There are people, and it actually took me a little while to realize this, because as many people as maybe this alienates, because there's a whole slew of people that are just against subscriptions, renting software they're calling. But as many as people as maybe this alienates, do you know they just opened up Photoshop to the entire world?
Yeah.
I mean, how many hobbyists out there are thinking, I'd love to use Photoshop if I just had $700.
They don't need $700. They need 10. Well, no, they need $20.
Yeah.
Because if you're brand new to it, you need $20.
And they're not. Some people are very opposed to the subscription, but you know what? Some people don't care.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Do you remember when Adobe came out with the Creative Suite? Mm-hmm. People were outraged. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. You're bundling all these together, and it's everybody's on the Creative Suite now.
Yeah.
Now we're just moving to the Creative Cloud. And you know what? Everybody's freaked out. It was pulled on them at the last minute, like, oh gosh, I didn't know. You know what? A month from now, everybody will go, okay, which one am I going with? I'm going to go with this one. So here's the thing. You can either buy it or you don't have to buy it. I hope you buy it only because I train people on Photoshop. I want to see you still use Photoshop. And I don't have anything else that's just as good to tell you to go use. But I will do this. I have an idea.
Yeah.
It's an idea for Adobe. I love this idea. Matt digs this idea. I need your help on it. And we'll see what Adobe thinks. Now, we won't know what Adobe thinks on this show unless Tom decides to kick in. And Tom is a guy. Tom's very powerful. I don't know if you know he's become like a powerful overlord at Adobe. Who's in charge of pricing? No, he's not. Who is in charge of pricing? I don't know, but it ain't me.
It's Tom Hogarty, dude. He's the one that made this decision. Tom Hogarty.
Okay, so he's the one that made this decision. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about my idea for Adobe. It's very different, but if Adobe decided to do it, it would help them. It would help us. It would help me and Matt. It would help all you guys. I bet you love it.
And by the way, Tom's actually talking with Apple about just going to a subscription service for your laptop. So you'll have to rent your laptop. You won't actually own it anymore.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh, I'm like, well, you know what? I have to pay like $2,000 for it.
Like,
then I have to go to $4,000. That's yeah. Okay, I don't have $4,000. Okay, we're gonna take a short break. When we come back, we'll yell at me some more. Don't go away. Hey, all right. So, hey, we want a quick shout out to our sponsor, Peach Pit Press. Peach Pit has been running these ebook deals just for our readers. So it's only good from May 1st to 15th. And what it is Stacy Pearsall has a book. Stacy Pearsall she was like the Army military photographer of the year, an incredibly great photographer. She's got this thing called a photojournalist's field guide. The original price is $31.99, but you get 40% off. You get 40% off. You get it for $19.19. Go to peachpit.com/KelbyTV for our e-deal of the week. There's the special code, and the special code looks like it is KelbyTV, and they give you the discount at checkout. And Stacy's she's just a terrific photographer, a very nice person, very, very nice. Yeah. All right, so I have this idea.
All right, let's hear it. I've heard it, but let's let them hear it.
Well, so you have Lightroom, right? And Lightroom does sorting. It's got Camera Raw in it. It does slideshows, and they're actually better now. They do. Yeah. They do really good printing. They do great photo books, and they have a web module that Adobe doesn't care about. Okay, but it's a really great program, and it's really gotten. I mean, it's gotten really huge. I mean, everybody's using Lightroom.
It's gotten to the point where photographers don't even want to leave Lightroom.
Yeah, they don't want to leave Lightroom. But so what are your options?
And by the way, can I just add, if you're a photographer, you should be using Lightroom.
Yeah, it was made for photographers.
Forget about Camera Raw, Bridge. You should be using Lightroom. I know you think you might like Camera Raw, but you don't.
Yeah, Camera Raw
like
sucks.
Lightroom.
Okay. Well, not Camera Raw sucks. It's just better. It's better in Lightroom.
Yeah.
There are features and things you can do in the Camera Raw and Lightroom that you can't do in regular Camera Raw. Okay, can I tell you this real quick before we go any further, just in case you're wondering? Go to photoshopuser.com/Lightroom. And Matt and I did a series called 100 Ways That Lightroom Kicks the Bridge and Camera Raw's Ass. We did 100 videos that are 60 seconds or less that just go, here's how you do it in Camera Raw, here's how you do it in Lightroom, or here's the feature that's missing. There it is right there. And so we have like 100 features, and we go through all these incredible reasons. And I've had people watch the first video and send me an email and say, that was it.
Yep.
I bought it after the first one. I've had people get to number 12 or number 13. No one's going to get into the 40s or 50s because you all of a sudden realize, I just thought it was kind of like a replacement for the Bridge and Camera Raw. It will replace the Bridge and Camera Raw, but it does so much more than that. So anyway, go check that out. All right, so here's my idea. So you have Lightroom, but sometimes you're going to have to jump over. You're going to have to jump over and go to Photoshop, because if you have to do like retouching, compositing,
selections,
really intricate selections, type, there's a number of things that you would go to Photoshop for. But you don't have to get Photoshop. You can get Elements. Okay, $60. Mm-hmm. Can I tell you something about Elements? I told you earlier, I think it's the best bargain.
Yeah.
$59, brand new, right?
For 80 to 90% of what Photoshop has.
Right. But can I tell you something that I think is bad with Elements? Now, Matt may disagree with me, but I really feel this. I honestly feel that learning Elements is harder than Photoshop. Let it marinate. Wait for it. And we're back. Okay. There's so much to Elements because Elements has created its own little window for everything. You want to do this kind of adjustment, there's basic adjustments, there's scripts, there's actions, there's all these. It's gotten, in trying to make it easier, it's a giant program. I think it actually does more. Like stuff like the spot healing brush, it was in Elements first. Mm-hmm. So, and wasn't it Panos in Elements first? There's features that go to Elements first before they even make it to Photoshop. Yeah. It's a really, really big, kind of unwieldy program. And so when people come up to me on my brand on the tour that I'm at, and they'll say, Scott, should I get Lightroom or Elements? Get Lightroom. Oh my God, Lightroom there. Okay, but here's what I would love Adobe to do. Think about this. I would love Adobe, this will help two things. Make a version of Photoshop for Lightroom users. And what I mean by that is, I would like them to go in and strip out everything but the essential things for photographers. So we need, like layers and layer masks, but we don't need like Crack-A-Lure, filter. There's like 126 filters in Photoshop. We need like 4, all right?
We don't need 33 blend modes.
We don't need 33 blend modes. We don't need divide. We need 4. We don't need all this stuff. And so if you think about Adobe, stripping it all, first, how fast would that program be? How fast would it be? It would be lightning speed if you stripped out all the crud and just came down to a photo. But I would make it kind of, even like the colors would be like Lightroom. I would make it feel like Lightroom. I'd use the same font as Lightroom. I would make it feel like a companion to Lightroom. I would make it about the same price, about $149. But we'll talk, I want to get your thoughts on pricing as well. But in a minute. Right now, you know what I want you guys to do? So I by the way, I've already talked to Adobe, very preliminary about this. Like I floated the idea and they were kind of like, huh, that's interesting. But really they were worried about other things. But I really want to like make a proposal and like really kind of go, okay, really consider this, because for Lightroom users, dude, that would be it.
Yeah. And to kind of build on what you said before, just so people know, Elements, when you said Elements is just as complicated or more complicated than Photoshop, because Elements is the Photoshop interface. It's the Photoshop interface with a few panels taken out of it.
And some stuff added.
And some stuff added, yeah. But it is like, in order to learn Elements, you still need to know every bit of the complexity of Photoshop. Layers, masks, brushes, selections, all these things that tend to be the stumbling blocks for people. You still need to know all that stuff. So a program that made it only so like I only had to know like 6 tools.
Yeah, like there's all kinds of tools in here that aren't for photographers that you're just never going to use.
The line tool.
Yeah, the rotate view tool, the shape tool,
the annotate tool.
All that. There's a bunch of stuff in here that you're just not going to use, right? But I need the magic wand, I need the crop tool, I need the eyedropper, I need the healing brush, I need the patch tool, I need some stuff. But I don't need everything. So I can have a very short bar, I can have just a few filters, and if you go under image adjustments. Let me just pull up an image here or something. If you open up an image and you go to image adjustments, I don't want brightness and contrast. That's I don't need exposure. I don't need. Have you ever used the black and white? Don't.
I don't need vibrance because I'd have it in Lightroom. A hue saturation I'd have in Lightroom.
I don't need channel mixer. I don't need the color lookup tables. I don't need threshold. I don't need probably selective color. You'd have to buy Photoshop for that. I don't need shadows and highlights. I have better shadow and highlights already.
In Lightroom.
HDR toning.
I'd like that in Lightroom.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't need match color, replace color, or equalize. I don't need a bunch of this stuff. Man, would this be fast? Can you imagine?
No 3D menu.
Now, so also, here's where else comes in. So Adobe says, and Tom was here, Tom was on our show, and Tom said, okay, well, we're working on some stuff. And he showed us stuff that they're working on just last week. Just, you know, he said, I'm working on stuff. We don't have, oh, look, somebody came up with a name for it. Bay Still, San Francisco called it Light Shop. I like that. But what the heck was I saying?
Tom Hogarty was demoing some stuff last week.
And he said, okay, well, for photographers right now, if you're just going to join the complete Creative Cloud and you're just going to use Photoshop and Lightroom, it's probably not the greatest deal. But they're working on some new stuff. But what if this was part of it? What if this new program also came with your Creative Cloud membership? All of a sudden it's like, well, now I'm getting Photoshop and Lightroom and what did he call it? Light Shop?
Yeah.
And and this other stuff that's coming, and there's stuff that Adobe's working on that they haven't shown. All of a sudden, the case for photographers becomes very compelling.
And what if in this Light Shop was an effects menu?
See now,
what do? We all go to Perfect Effects from On1 or Color Effects from Nick.
Or Topaz.
Give us an effects menu. Give us an effects menu, and then ooh. So now you have an effects menu there, but part of your Creative Cloud membership, maybe they release packs of effects. Packs.
So this is the stuff they didn't ask me about. Okay.
Book layouts for the book module in Lightroom. You get a cool book layout. Yeah. Release these things into the cloud as part of things you can download.
Did they ask you about that?
No.
Me either. Okay. Anyway, so imagine that. So here's what I'd like you guys to help us do. We only have a few minutes left. But I'm going to go through some of these menus, and if you guys will just kind of write in, we keep a tally of your comments. So if you would kind of tell us, I'll tell you the ones that I think we need, but if you see something, tell us why there's something that needs to be there and why you need it.
Yeah.
All right. I would think that we definitely want liquify. For retouchers, that's a really key filter. It's one of the most important filters. Of course, we need lens correction.
But do we? Because we have
lens correction in Camera
See, that
Raw.
perpetuates the whole.
You're right. And
questions between people. Do I use Lightroom or Photoshop?
Right. And did you see one of my favorite features in the new the Photoshop Creative Cloud? The apply Camera Raw as a filter.
As a filter, yeah.
And it happens like that. So you can get rid of lens correction. Good call, Matt.
Yeah.
Smash. All right.
Blow it up.
So blow it up. All right. So we could do without lens correction. Adaptive wide angle, though, that's nice.
Yeah.
All right. So we leave adaptive wide angle. We leave liquefy. Out of the blur menu, I actually would need just a couple. Gaussian blur.
Tilt shift is effective. Tilt. I'll say it for you. Tilt shift.
Stop it. That filter.
I love it.
And iris blur.
Leave them.
Those two filters. I like those.
So Pete's saying he loves them, but
Which one?
Pete,
Shift and iris.
Yeah, I'm okay with leaving those.
Gaussian,
and
surface, or motion blur. I like motion
blur. That was the other one. Motion blur. Are there any other blurs out there that you guys want? If you do, just put it in the comments. Say, hey, I need this blur for a reason. All right. Under the distort menu, I don't need a dang thing in there.
Nope.
Under the noise menu, I do need add noise, despeckle. Gosh, I kind of need the noise stuff.
Really?
Well, reduced noise doesn't work at all, so forget that one.
Well, we already have noise reduction.
Yeah, we already have noise reduction. Yeah, you're right. You know what? All we need is add noise.
Because I mean, you also maybe add noise in case you get
but I know, but the noise filter in Camera Raw is better.
I know.
Okay, forget that menu.
Yeah, forget noise because anything else in there is a special effect.
Right. Okay, pixelate. Nope. Render. Lens flare's nice.
Yeah.
And lighting effects are nice. These two are nice.
Yeah.
You know how many times in my whole career I've used fibers? I think once. Clouds that don't look like clouds, how often do you need that?
Oh,
Like
that's
that?
good.
That's good, right? Oh, that's just like clouds.
And for people that are writing in, because I know you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, I use clouds for this effect. We got to take it out of effect. Once you get into effects and you're doing multiple layer upon layer, now you're getting into a Photoshop. This is for basic photographer. What would they need to do with their photos?
Hey, you know what else Adobe could do? Adobe could go buy somebody like Topaz, or who's the other one? They bought somebody like that and said, we're gonna Adobe size these, make them look like Adobe, make it look consistent with all our other stuff, and make it a plug and pack.
Dude, I mean, On One's retouching software
Yeah.
finds the eyes, finds the mouth, finds the lips, finds all that.
No, it does a
stuff.
great job.
That's what retouching should be.
I remember seeing that, seeing a demo of that and going, uh-oh. Anyway, unsharp mask. How about the new Smart Sharpen? Right? In Creative Cloud version. And then forget sharpen and sharpen more and sharpen edges. Forget those three. So there's two filters. So how many do we really have now? We've got one, two.
You don't even need that many. I mean, there should just be one
There
sharpening.
should be, just Smart
Like,
Sharpen.
just tell me which one's the best one to use, and I'll use it.
Nope. I don't need solarizer, wind, or any of that stuff. Video,
No.
Other,
No.
well, we need high pass. Need high pass.
High pass.
That's it.
But you know what? If they gave us a better detail panel or a detail menu, kind of Topaz-ish, you would never need high pass. Because what would you do with high pass? You duplicate the you fill it with gray, change the blend mode, do all. I mean, it's an effect.
Right? If it was an effect, makes you stop and think.
So
doesn't it?
so they should take all those things. Like, what are the most common Photoshop effects tutorials that we do? What are the most common ones? Roll them into an effect. Don't make me do 3 layers, 2 blend modes.
No, I agree.
And a filter.
Dude, I have been wanting effects like that in Photoshop for a long time. But of course, I don't think any of the plugin manufacturers want Adobe to do that.
No.
But I think if you bought Topaz, they'd probably be okay. Adobe's got a bunch of money in the bank. They could go buy Topaz, not even notice it missing. They'd be looking at their account. Did we buy Topaz? I didn't notice. Does that even? All right. So that's it for plugins.
Paid that much for lunch at Max the other day.
for filters. Let's count the filters. So 1, 2, 3,
Liquefy, adaptive.
4, 5.
6 maybe. Yeah.
6 maybe. 7, 8.
9.
9.
No. 10.
Maybe 10.
Let's see,
Maybe 10. 10 filters out of what is there, 100 and something?
I think it's like 111.
Yeah, 111 or something. 10 filters. And now, over here for layers, what do we need? We just need layers.
Duplicate layer.
Duplicate layer masks.
I don't need all the.
I don't need all the stuff across
and-
the find and
yeah.
search and all that. I don't need any of that junk. I just need the ability to be able to create good old happy layers. And and let's look for adjustment layers. What do we need for adjustment layers? Sorry, let's pop it up.
Curves or levels. I don't think we need both.
Let's see. We don't need solid color. Gradient. Well, no. I was going to say gradient's nice because to use as a, but you got it in camera raw.
Yeah.
To use as a neutral density gradient. How about the pattern filter? That's a Pete would die if that was gone. But remember, we're not making Photoshop. We're taking stuff out of Photoshop to make this super fast thing. All right. But maybe curves and hue and saturation, and that's about it. Yeah. I mean, you could go through. I'm not going to go through every menu in Photoshop, but you could go through a few of these and come up with a really, really slim. And make sure you put your comments in there. Go ahead and put them in there. We're going to look at them. But we could slim this thing down. You could slim the price down. You could slim the speed. You could crank the speed way up.
Take the best. Go out there, take the best of what third-party plugins do. Figure out what are people going to plugins for.
Well, a lot of what they're going to is for glows, for serious
effects,
glows, for
detail,
for
sharpening.
Well, the sharpening has gotten in CC. But it's really good.
The detail effect, like
the contrast effects, the tonal contrast effects, like On One does, like Nick does, like Topaz does,
and then retouching.
But we need a good way to convert to black and white. Yeah. So just the black and white thing in Photoshop. Anyway.
And retouching.
And some retouching stuff. Give us a couple of tools for, But man, that would be the dream. Now, Adobe might go, why in the world would we ever do that? But you know what? You made Elements. Every single thing I just named is in Elements. Did I name anything that's on it? Wait, I did. One thing. I don't know if they have adaptive wide angle.
No, they don't.
They got Liquify.
They got Liquify.
They got Gaussian blur. They got Sharpen. They got all this stuff. So all of that stuff that I just named is in their $60 product. Can we make a better version of their $60 product and charge $99, $149? Right?
Somewhere in between.
Or just make it a part of
Tom Hogarty, what do you think?
Tom's probably left a long time ago. Tom's sitting there going, I'm not going to do this.
Once I said that he was in charge of Apple's laptop subscription, I think he checked out.
I think actually Tom is in charge of Adobe pricing, just all Adobe pricing in general. Anyway, so I think it's kind of a cool idea. I don't know if Adobe will entertain it at any level, but you know what? It's just like everything in Adobe. You know what? Enough people speak out about it, you might have it. It's just like the open letter I wrote. It wasn't because I wrote an open letter. It's because everybody answered about it.
I mean, there's got to be a place for it because there's all these other programs people buy. So there has to be a place for something like that, or people wouldn't buy all these other programs. Tom Hogarty, hey guys, just absorbing it all. Meeting with my VP in 2 minutes, and we'll share the feedback.
Tom.
And yes,
hope it goes well, Tom.
Hold on. He's right. Another sentence says, "Yes, guys, I love the idea of Light Shop. We're working on it now. It'll cost $29."
Great. That Tom said that?
Yeah. Tom didn't say that last.
He didn't say that. Matt's trying to throw Tom under the bus. Okay. So anyway. Just to put this all, wrap it up in a bow and end on time for the first time in maybe 2 years.
No, hey, we ended. You weren't here. Sorry. We ended on time a few weeks ago.
Like a bug flew on my thing here. Do we not close the doors? Is we in a barn or what is it? Anyway. Okay. So to wrap this up in a bow, what I'd like everybody to do, number one, is stop writing me mean things on my blog. Just stop it. Just stop it. I'm trying to help. I was trying to help before I wrote the post. I was trying to help with the post. I'm trying to be balanced. I'm trying not to be negative. I'm trying not to be overly positive. I'm trying to be like, here's what it is. Here are your choices. Here's how it is. I'm not trying to sell you on it. I'm not, nowhere in there I said, I think you should, here's the link, go buy it. There's not a link in there anywhere to buy it, is there? Oh, no, there was a link to buy CS6 because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, so you showed people.
I finally found it. Not without some digging, let me tell you. It's kind of buried in there. Anyway, but I put that link is to the old one. It says that link goes to the educational versions.
That's the only versions that are on the website
Oh,
now.
okay.
It did work and then they changed it.
Okay. I don't know. I'm sure they have a lot going on with their web department right now. So anyway, Tom Hogarty says, now Matt's putting words in my mouth. I know who the real troublemaker is. Good, thanks.
Sorry, Tom.
Number 2 is, please do not make me the spokesman for Adobe. I'm the spokesman for NAP. I'm the spokesman for Kelby Training. I'm not the spokesman for Adobe. You know who would be a great spokesman, I think, for Adobe?
Tom Hogarty.
Tom Hogarty. Tom's a great guy. He's super smart. He's got all kinds of crazy levels of power now. He crushes people's dreams left and right. He would be great on a critique show because he hates everything and everybody, which is why he keeps rising up the Adobe power ladder. So anyway, and he's now to the point where he's in charge of all pricing and returns. He's also, if you're unhappy with your Adobe software.
And Q&A.
And Q&A, he's in charge. No, but seriously, pick somebody else. I'm trying to do the right thing, and don't worry, I won't do that again. But I do want to say something. A lot of people, like on Twitter, said, "Hey, this was very helpful." Mm-hmm. I finally understand it. This made sense. I was getting upset. I was really pissed. I read your thing, and I feel much better. So thank you to everybody on Twitter who kind of came to my defense, because a lot of people there, not on my own blog, seriously, really, on my own blog. So. Don't write anything mean because I ain't going to read it anyway. I should just delete that whole post and just remove this entire tract of my life.
All right.
So we have some giveaways. How can they win some giveaways, man?
Just go to kelbytv.com/thegrid. If you look up in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see a contest link. Just put in your info in there, pick the show, The Grid, and leave a nice comment. Leave your idea. You know what the best thing you can do? Leave ideas for this whole light shop thing that we just talked about here.
Yeah, put them in the comments. That's a good idea.
Put them in the comments. It's the best thing you can do there. So, hey, we had one sponsor we were supposed to mention in the beginning of the show and we didn't. Is Squarespace. Squarespace is one of the companies that helps brings us this show, and I can't tell people how over the top I am about Squarespace just because. I think all photographers, whether you're a pro, hobbyist, enthusiast, whatever, you should have a website to put your stuff on. And Squarespace
you need a portfolio. Everybody needs a portfolio.
So freaking incredibly easy to do, and at such a good price. So
hold on, I don't have it up yet. 1 second. I'm gonna show. I just got a Squarespace site just for my sports photography. And we're waiting. Wait for it. And that's the. Hold on.
There you go.
Well, that's the edit screen. I don't want really edit screen. I want just regular screen. Hold on. I can get there. 1 second if I just go like this and don't put an S in there.
We hope.
Okay, yeah. So, all right. So here's this is my regular sports site. So I moved all my sports stuff, my football stuff, my other sports stuff, my athletes' portraits, and they're nice and big. And I had this thing running in like 20 minutes. I mean, it was like nothing. It was like bang, and it's nice big stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. And seriously, it takes 7 minutes to make that website. I mean,
it takes nothing at all.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So Squarespace is I think that it's like $10 a month.
It's $8 or $10 a month.
And $9.
Dude, I can't afford that.
So well, hold on. If I stop paying, do I get to keep my website?
No, they take it down.
Really?
Yeah.
I quit. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Why does nobody care that Squarespace is it's $10 a month? Sound familiar? And if you stop using it, you're right. Your portfolio goes,
I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it either. Anyway, hey, also, just a last shout out to B&H Photo. They are one of the sponsors of our show, some of the greatest people in the planet. If you're in New York City, it's worth the trip to New York City to go see the B&H store.
It'll cost you.
It will cost you. Take your checkbook because no one gets out of there without buying something. You go in there and it's like you picture a Home Depot, but just full of photo stuff.
It's got this whole conveyor belt system. You want to buy something just so you can see your
stuff
thing
go over there. Oh, that's it. That's my 14 to 24. There it goes. Yeah. Hey, Matt, where can they find out more about you?
Just go to my website, mattkay.com.
Do not go to my blog. Don't go to scottkelby.com. Go to my Facebook page where people are friendlier. On Twitter, I'm just Scott Kelby. I'm at Scott Kelby. On Facebook, I am facebook.com/skelby. So it looks like Skelby. Thanks to everybody. Thank you guys very much for sticking with us. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to tell my side of the story, which was told by 400 other people in a very different fashion. And we will see you guys next week live right here on The Grid. Take care, everybody. Peace out.
This week's episode of The Grid is sponsored by Impix. Shoot today, upload tonight, we ship tomorrow. On One Software, focused on photography. Peach Pit Press, publishers of technology books, ebooks, and videos for creative people. Epson, exceed your vision. Expo Imaging, Rogue Flash Benders for speedlight enthusiasts. Intel, the power you need for hardcore creatives. Squarespace, everything you need to create an exceptional photography website. And B&H Photo, the professional source.